What's going on, everybody? It's Jake here. I'm excited to bring you an updated version of my financial freedom roadmap 2.0, 2024 version, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. I'm excited to be here. A lot of new faces, new people that have joined the school community. This is mainly for you. This is the type of content that I want to be putting out and giving you guys value and how I see my personal journey to wealth creation. Again, a lot of people don't know, my history over the last, 5 years as being an entrepreneur, lots of ups and downs, lots of wins and failures. And this is going to be a simplified process on almost following in my footsteps. You guys know that I'm not a big advice guy from the point of no one's success is going to look the same and no one's success is going to take the same path and have the same circumstances happen, right? It's hard to repeat success in the same fashion because you're going to get certain breaks, certain, luck, whether it's good or bad, that can derail you from, your previous blueprint of success, right? Or, or things that can accelerate the process. But the point of me showing you this is that I want to really kind of go over the blueprint to execution for financial freedom, for success, because I believe that the blueprint does look relatively the same, even if the intricacies of how you get there look different. The paths you get there will be different. But this blueprint is objective, in my opinion. It's the safest, most logical, and has the least variance when it comes to creating wealth. This is going to be, there's a lot to cover, so I want to kind of get through this kind of quickly, so I'm going to just jump right in, and hopefully you guys have some value, and maybe we can do a Zoom call and talk about some of these situations, some of the, questions you guys will have, because I'm sure you will have questions. All right, so let's jump right in. So, for our map to guide us to our destination, we need to define what financial freedom and independence is. And again, this is going to look different for different people. But financial freedom is when your passive income and active income. I used to just think passive, but there's really no such thing as purely passive income, especially when you're starting out. And I know a lot of you are starting out. So we're going to talk about financial freedom actually also including active income. So it's going to be when you're active. I'm going to change this. When you're active plus passive income, which would be your monthly net income from active income and investments, exceeds your monthly expenses by 3 to 5x in 3 to 5 diversified long-term viable revenue streams. Okay, so what does this mean? A lot of words in there, a lot of multipliers in there. So active income, whatever you're doing currently to make money, it would be an active income. Okay, you could have multiple active incomes. You could be like running 2 businesses. Like I run 3 or 4 businesses, right? I have cat breeding, I do JDM, right, which is credit repair funding, and then I do some e-commerce stuff, and then I do some private equity. So I have like 4 businesses, okay, that I'm actively doing on a day-to-day basis, right? And you do want there to be some variance in diversification, like at least some of it should be different, like very different. So that's why I have cat breeding kind of next to credit repair finance, like private equity. Those are all synergistic and all kind of within a similar vertical, but cat breeding is like completely separate from all those. So I'm probably not as diversified as I'd like to be, but again, I'm not at this level yet. at the level that I want to be at yet. So again, it's a work in progress. So personally for me, it's financial freedom, pure, like real financial freedom would be what I just said, the former, when you're active in passive income, which is your monthly net income from active and passive investments, exceeds your monthly expenses by 3 to 5 times in 3 to 5 diversified and long-term viable revenue streams. And then for me, I also believe that you need to have some type of cash reserve or some type of liquid net worth to really have that next level of security. And when I say liquid, it doesn't have to be like literal cash in like a money market account. It could be in the form of like crypto and stocks or real estate, even if it's, relatively easily, liquid. Right. So, just keep that in mind. Personal, again, this is personal. My personal level based on how much, the things that I like, what I value, right? I believe this is where I need to be. Okay. So 5 million liquid net worth, 5 million cash, whatever, liquid net worth, plus for me, currently, it's going to be somewhere in the 100 to 200,000 a month range, okay? And it's going to differ, right? And I say those numbers not to brag or that's not what I make right now, quite. But, I have made $100,000 a month profit before. I have made close to $200,000 a month profit before. I haven't done it consistently over the course of years yet. And that's what I'm working towards, right? And I have a lot of overhead. So there's 2 ways to go about this. And I want you to think about this for a second. So there's lowering your overhead is going to get you closer, right? Like say you make 10K a month right now, but your overhead is 7,000 a month. So you have 3K a month in like net savings or net cash, right? Obviously, again, monthly net income from active and passive income exceeds your monthly expenses by 3 to 5x. So if you were making 10K a month, but your overhead was 7, right? Then you would need to make roughly 20 to 30,000 a month, right, to be in that 3 to 5x over your monthly expenses range. Okay, right? So if you let's make it simple, right? 10K a month overhead, you want to be anywhere from 25 to 50K a month net profit. Okay. And again, you can get to this ratio faster by living below your means or living within your means, something that I haven't done. And that actually has cost my growth over the last few years, where I've kind of been rebuilding and retooling, and I've been trying to lower my overhead, because your overhead will eat into your potential. And there, again, remember, in business, in the economy, whatever, there's always going to be ups and downs, right? You're going to have good years, good quarters, bad quarters. So you really want to be disciplined and try to not live above your means like I have. Now, I don't regret it, okay? I have my logic, I have my reasons for doing the things that I did. I also maybe had some bad luck that I didn't foresee, and that's a perfect example of why you should be conservative when it comes to your overhead. You don't want to add that $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 expense every month, even though you think you can afford it, and you might be able to, but you never know when something doesn't pan out the way it's supposed to. I thought I would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point selling cats, and I've made zero. I do have, currently 5 cats for sale, but this is like the first successful real litter that I've had. So it's taken years for me to start to even just make an ROI on the cat breeding business. Again, I didn't think that was going to be the case, but again, this happens a lot and you need to be prepared for this. So again, the longer that you can eat shit for, basically, and live below your means, and you don't actually have to sacrifice. If you do it the right way and you're okay with living with other people, or you're okay with living in not a super expensive city, you can, expedite this process quite a bit and get to that level faster, much faster, if you are willing to, not live above your means and not live in luxury, and understand that that's for down the road. Now, that means, not eating out a ton. That means not having super nice cars and having, thousands and, $5,000-$10,000 a month in car payments. That means not necessarily buying a house, right? And living in an expensive house or an expensive apartment, right? For most of you, again, for me, it's different. I have the cats. I have to have a house because of the cats. I also, I've made a lot of money. I'm used to a certain standard. Again, my house is relatively reasonable for the amount of money that I make. My mortgage is like $4,500 a month, okay? And I make like $50,000 to $100,000 a month currently. But I wasn't making that for the last 2 years. I was making a ton of money in 2021, 2021, and then 2022, 2023, I was not making a lot of money. So again, you have to understand there's going to be these fluctuations. So if you can live, if I had that 10K a month overhead, like, I would be in such a better position than I am today. But it's okay. Like, you live and learn. I'm young. I understand that I'm also willing to take massive risks because I have tremendous skills. And that's something we're going to get into, right? Where your skills that you possess, should in some ways be directly correlated to how much risk you're willing to endure, right? I'm willing to lose everything because I can make it all back relatively quickly because I know how to do it. Okay, so if I had to start over, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Now, for some of you, like maybe you inherited money, or you did get lucky, you did use funding, and you did get lucky, and you made all good investments, right? Like, but your skills, your active income, your skills don't necessarily earn you a ton of money. You might not be as as willing to, risk everything like I am, right? Because the thing about business and the thing about life is that skills and business compound as you go further. So the longer that you're in business, right, staying in the game is very important. We call it in gambling, it's called risk of ruin. You definitely want to avoid that. So avoiding risk of ruin is very important because the sweat equity, the compound equity in skills that you will have, and your network and your opportunities, all these things will compound the longer that you're in business and you're able to play the game. So I leave kind of this intro with that to kind of ponder, okay? Now, obviously, my belief, or it's not a belief necessarily, it's just what I believe, it's true, you're going to be able to expedite the roadmap to financial freedom by leveraging credit or leveraging other people's money, okay? And in this specific example, we're going to talk about leveraging credit because this is something that everyone has that's American, citizen has, or even if they're not, if you have a social security number, you can have one without being an American citizen. You can leverage credit to get ahead. And that's what my company does. Okay. That's what we do. That's what we teach people. Again, this is not financial advice, but more so coaching, education, opportunity, things like that. Okay. Again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just giving you access to make decisions that I've spent my career building, opportunities and network that I've spent my career building, that will allow you to, bypass some of the red tape that's involved with business. Not everybody gets to sit at the same table, so it's important to understand that. All right, let's run through the left side of this graph right here, this flow chart relatively quickly, just so we can get to the right side, because the left side is pretty straightforward, right? So you're here, okay, and then it's really the question is, do I currently qualify for funding? Which you're gonna have to have a 720 with 2 accounts with a little bit of history. Obviously, the better the credit is, the more funding you'll be able to get in that first round of funding. Okay, if you don't have good credit, if you don't have a 720 with this type of history, right? Or maybe you have a lot of negative accounts, we can put you into credit repair, okay? We have standard credit repair, it's $1,500 for 4 rounds. And we have expedited credit repair, which is a new service that we're offering. We are one of the only companies in the entire space that has a true expedited credit repair service. I want you to understand, everyone's going to say they have expedited credit repair or VIP credit repair or whatever. I have only seen one other person, not even a company, it's just a guy, right? It's actually a former client of mine who's the one that showed me this method, and it works. It does work. Now, it's hard, which is a good thing, because it means that, again, Hormozy, a big inspiration and guru that I follow, one of the few that I do follow, is Alex Hormozy, and he talks about, I want what I'm doing to be really difficult, because it means that I'm going to have less competition, because less people are just willing to do hard shit. Expedited credit repair would fall under that category. It's very tedious and it is difficult. So you have to come down and decide, what is your current budget support? If you don't have that 720, can you afford the 1,500 just to get started in repair? Can you afford expedited repair? Again, we do offer payment plans for these programs. We do try to make it, if you are serious, we do try to make it affordable as much as we can, as much as we can. So, if you don't have money for repair, or you don't think repair is going to work, then you have to find a credit partner, right? So, do you understand the value of credit? If you're still at this level, this is just opportunity cost ignorance. So what is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is looking at things in reverse, right? So instead of it being, well, if I give this guy $50,000 for an investment, and it doesn't work out, I'm going to lose 50 grand. But if it does work out, I can make 200, right? So you have to weigh the opportunity cost versus the upside versus the downside, right? So not participating in opportunity, for instance, the most obvious one would be crypto, right? So because you didn't buy crypto when it was 10K, when Bitcoin was 10,000 or 5,000 or 500, right? You lost however much money, that would be worth today. Now, obviously, opportunity cost does not exist in a vacuum. So you shouldn't look at opportunity cost like a pure FOMO. Just understand that opportunity cost is real. So the longer you take this, you decide to fix your credit, or the longer you take to build a network where you can find credit partners and people to use their credit, the longer it's going to take you to build wealth. And that's just, again, for 99% of people, that's just the truth. Okay, obviously there's exceptions. There's people that build wealth without credit. It can be done. It can be done. You can build wealth without leveraging debt. It is very difficult, and it's more difficult. So why make things harder for yourself, right? So once you're at a 720 plus, I have 730 here. That was the old metric. 720 is kind of where I'm at right now. We're going to put you into a funding play with Chase. Now, I currently have a relationship with a Chase business manager, or relationship manager as they call them, and we're able to get you anywhere from 50 to 200,000 on potentially multiple businesses at 0% interest for a year. You can set up a new LLC to do this. You can set up an aged LLC if you want to do aged. There's pros and cons to both. Obviously, what your budget is, what your long-term goals are, all this stuff is relevant. And let me just circle back real quick. If you don't have a 720, but you don't need credit repair, like you just don't have that thick file, just let me know, reach out to me, and we can figure something out where I'll help you build your file and we can get you to that 720 mark, right? It'll cost you a little bit of money, but you won't need necessarily credit repair. So once we put you through Chase, this process is going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to get you funding, okay? Let's just say we get you $100,000 to $200,000 at 0% interest for a year. So in the wealth building scenario, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here and scroll over here. In the wealth building scenario, okay, a lot of people think that credit is the answer to all of their problems. And it's not. Because if you did have a really high income, you technically wouldn't really need credit, right? The point of credit is because if I can get $100,000 to $200,000 in 4 to 6 weeks, what is the cost opportunity against me having to save that much money, right? Well, the cost opportunity is the time that it would take for me to save that much cash, right? So if I was only netting $3K a month, it's going to take like 5 years to save $100 to $150K, okay? So that's the cost opportunity, would be time in that scenario, in that example, okay? So most of you have an income problem. Income is the highest likelihood of successfully navigating this roadmap. The whole point of credit is to increase your income. That is the point of credit. That is the point of leveraging debt. The end goal is to use that money to increase your income. Okay? And there's only 3 reasons why you have an income problem. Okay? You have a skill problem. So you lack skills that pay a high amount of income. Okay? You lack opportunity. Okay? So you might have a skill, but you don't have the opportunity, right, to earn money even though you possess the skills to do so, okay? Or, well, there's actually 4 reasons, because it could be all of these, right? So the third reason would be execution. You have the skill, you have the opportunity, right? But you just, for some reason, you lack execution. You can't focus. Your environment's horrible. You have too many other personal responsibilities. It's, there's a lot of, I've seen this happen a lot. There's a lot of reasons for this, okay? So understand, the fourth reason obviously could be that you have an issue with all of these, right? You have a skill problem, you have an opportunity problem, and you have an execution problem. It could be all 3, right? Or you could have the skill and the execution problem, but not the execution to find the opportunity, right? Or you have the skill and the opportunity, but you just can't execute, right? Or you don't have any problem with an opportunity, but you just need to learn the skill, right? So wherever you are, you need to identify where you are and which problem you have, okay? So if you have a skill problem, figure out which high income skill you want to learn. I'm going to give you some examples here. Sales, okay? Now everyone says, oh yeah, you just got to learn sales. Well, it's kind of like broad, okay? We want to get niche down a little bit, right? So like a form of sales that makes a lot of money would be wholesaling, wholesaling real estate. I don't know if a lot of you guys know what wholesaling is, but essentially you find someone to sell you a property at a certain number, okay? You find someone to buy that property at a higher number, right? So you're bringing two people together, and then you take those two contracts and you bring them to a title company, and the title company will write you a check for the difference. So if I find a property, if John down the street is selling his house for 300 grand, and I say, John, listen, I can give you, I really think I can move your house super quick if I get it for 250. Are you cool with 250? John wants 300, but you negotiated him down to 250. Now, you know that you think you can sell John's house for 325, okay? John might say, you know what? If you can get rid of this house within a couple weeks, I'll give it to you for 250. So you give John an agreement for sale for 250. He signs that agreement, and then you go to your buyer, right? The person you're going to sell the house to, and they agree to buy the house for 325. They sign that contract. This is kind of an extreme example. 75K spread is pretty big on a 300K house, but it's possible. And then you would take those two contracts to the title company, and they're going to literally cut you a check for the difference. That's wholesaling. Wholesaling is an amazing, amazing business to be in. Okay, so if you're going to learn sales, if I was starting over from scratch, period, I would probably start with wholesaling, because you can make a lot of money with a small team in wholesaling, and you can really make money with just you and a couple of VAs. If you really wanted to make, if you wanted to make 20, 30, 40 grand a month, you could easily do so with just you and a couple of VAs. Wholesaling is pretty simple, and there's not a lot of overhead. You just have to basically just marketing, finding leads, right? You could knock doors, you could call free lists, you can get, lists, from the county. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Now, again, I'm not a wholesaling expert. I have friends and, people within my network that are. If you do want me to, refer you, if you're interested in wholesaling and you want me to refer you to someone, just let me know. I can refer you to someone. Again, you're going to use your funding, okay, that you've gotten to invest in one of these skills, okay? Now let's go to the next one, marketing, automation, CRM. Okay, listen, so marketing, again, very broad, okay? Well, what kind of marketing? Are you doing advertising for Fortune 500 companies, or are you going to help a small business like mine, or an HVAC company, or a local company, and help them market right to their audience? So marketing pays very well. You can get people on retainer. They can pay you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. You know what? I'm also going to put content in here, because content is very big currently, very important currently in today's ecosystem. So you could do content. You could do content creation. You could put packages together where you're going to manage social media. You're going to shoot, maybe even hire photographers, or you could do photography yourself and shoot content, right? You could do automation, where you go into companies and you set up their automations, right? So they have text automations and email automations. And then also CRM, right? This kind of goes hand in hand with marketing and automation, right? Where you're setting up their entire system, their customer relationship management system. You're going to teach them how to manage their pipelines, do sales, right? That's the first person I hire in a business. When I start a new business, when I started JDMCS.AI this year, I hired a tech guy to do my automations and focus on my CRM first. Why? Because if you don't have systems and you don't have organized systems where you can build potential sales teams or know how to track clients, you're not going to be able to acquire talent. It's going to be very difficult for you to acquire talent, okay? Okay, let's move on. So the last thing I'm going to put is trade. Now, sales and marketing are, well, before I move on, so marketing, you could also do, like I said, service-based. Oh, affiliate marketing is also very big. This is where you sell someone else's product online. Like, basically, you could go to Amazon, you can sell stuff off Amazon, you can do this. This is actually probably like the cheapest way to make money right now without like the least overhead, because you can pretty much have AI write blog posts for you on certain products. You could do product reviews, TikTok, like this is a very easy way to make money. Again, I'm not really, this video isn't really here to talk about per se like what's the best method to make money. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight, but I'm just kind of giving you examples, okay? And then obviously for everything, sales, marketing, whatever it is, education, but you kind of have to be a master to do education, and you have to be an authority figure, which we'll talk about a little bit in the next bracket here. But education obviously pays tremendously well if you can do it the right way, if you can execute it properly. And the last thing would be trade. So construction can pay very well, even if you're like low level, like a blue collar guy. Blue collar guys can make 80 to 120,000 bucks a month. A year. You know, plumbing, electrician, HVAC. I live in Vegas. HVAC guys make 100K, like just working for a company. Okay, 80 to 100,000. You know, you can make a lot of money doing these things. Yes, you do need to have skills though to do this stuff. So you have to figure out what you're gonna do with your active time to make money, okay? Again, this is assuming that you're like an able-bodied person, right? This is assuming you are, you know, not disabled in any way, whatever. Some people want to work with their hands. It's totally fine. No shitting on that. Some people want to work online and kind of have that freedom. That's fine too. You have to figure out, okay? Sales has the highest potential because of the industries that really, really good salespeople can get into. Like, to get into private equity or to get into credit and funding or to get into wholesaling, like, you have to be pretty good at sales. And those things pay the most, okay? Marketing, I would say, is second. It could be, you could make as much in marketing as you do in sales, but it's harder. And then trade would be third because it has the lowest ceiling when it comes to, even like the best plumber might make $1 million a year, you know, as a worker, or that's unlikely anyway. No, like you can make a lot, like construct, like like you can make a lot in trade, like if you're the business owner, but as a worker, trade has the lowest ceiling. Okay. Okay, so if you have an opportunity problem, then you want to take your money and invest into a network community or personal brand that's based around your skill, okay? So this could include like joining a wholesaling course or network or community, okay? This could include then investing in your social media to build yourself, or once you've decided what skill you want, you can build your personal brand around your skill. You don't have to have a personal brand, but it's going to accelerate the process because, again, the faster that you can get to education potentially, where you can start being the one that's offering courses and teaching people, like that stuff is low-hanging fruit and it's easy to make 10, 20 grand a month doing that type of stuff, okay? So network community equals opportunity and ideas. Again, you're going to get opportunities as well for jobs. Like if you wanted to learn sales and you say you joined a sales program, you paid 10 grand or something, right, to get into a sales training program. A lot of these sales training programs will they'll place you into a company when you're done with the program and they think that you're good enough, okay? And then again, personal brand is going to give you exposure and authority, okay? So whatever skill you choose, you're going to have exposure and authority, okay? So let's move on. If you have an execution problem, invest into therapy or a coach, depending on what the issue is. It could be something blocking you from, getting to the next level. It could be imposter syndrome. It could be some trauma that you experienced, or it could just be like, you know, alignment, like finding your truth, finding what really makes you tick, what makes you get up every day and like love what you do. You want that skill to like, and you want the skill and the opportunity to align with that. Okay, you have to figure this out, and if you can't figure it out yourself, you should invest in hiring a coach or a therapist to do so. Again, I can help you with all of these things. So if you guys have problems or concerns with any of these issues, you can hire me to help you with these things. This isn't included in like the general questions that you can ask me on school. You can ask me general questions about whatever on school, but like if you want me to really dive into your situation, you're gonna have to obviously pay for it. My coaching is $2,500 to $4,000-ish a month, depending on where you are. But again, we can work something out. Again, this is why you get funding, okay? You get funding so you can invest into this stuff, because nothing is going to give you an ROI like skills. And before people say, well, it's so much money, like if I had to pay you $40,000, like, hire you for mentorship for $50K a year, and then I have to pay, it's like, okay, you spend 75 grand, just say on the high end for everything. Okay, you spent 75 grand. How much would have you spent on college? 40, 50, 60,000? And what does that guarantee you? Nothing, right? In today's world. I'm not shitting on college. College has other benefits. Depends what you want to do with your time. But again, if I can accelerate, like I had a local kid who wanted to work with me, and I was going to give him mentorship for like a pretty big discount, like $25K, right? And for like a year. And they thought they were buying like an e-commerce store. And I said, no, you're buying mentorship. Now the e-commerce store potentially could be a part of that at some point, right? Like Shopify, we offer Shopify, TikTok, things like that. But I said, listen, for 25 grand, your son, right? I was talking to his parents. I said, listen, your son right now is only worth what he can get paid. So if your son is getting paid $15 an hour or $20 an hour part-time, right? So he makes $600 a week, right? How much is your son worth? 25, 35 grand a year. I can double to triple your son's earning potential within a year or less. So is that not worth 25 grand? Of course it is. Of course it is. It's worth 100 grand, because if I can bring your income earning potential from 30K to 100K in a year, I mean, it's worth more than, it'd be worth more than what you could earn in that following year. It would be worth at least that. So it'd be worth at least 100K. So when I charge someone 50, if I can bring them from 50,000 a year to 150K a year, then fucking damn right it's worth 50K. It's worth more than that. And that's why I'm able to sell this at that price. Okay, so, let's assume that you already have a skill, or you figure out what skill you're gonna do, and now we're gonna get into the kind of nitty gritty, okay? Would be step 2, right? Which is, let's now monetize our skill. We're gonna build income around our skill, right? We wanna lower our overhead if possible, and then we wanna use our leftover capital, if we have any, to invest into another active or passive income opportunity. Now, this can get a little bit complicated. I really recommend that people stick to one active thing and to really, really go hard on that one active thing. So, like, stick to one active thing and go hard with it. Now, if you have leftover capital and 0% interest and you want to leverage it, depending on how much money you have left over, we can figure out a place for you to put that capital that you think makes sense, right? The other thing we want to do, so our goal for the next 6 months to a year, right, is to we want to build an emergency fund. Right now, your goal should be, I want to monetize my skill, okay? So I want to start making money with my skill, with my opportunity that I have, and I want to start building my cash reserves. You want to build an emergency fund You want to pay your bills on time and continue to build your personal and business credit. Okay. I'm assuming again that a lot of you aren't going to have super thick credit files that are really built out, okay, during this process. So I'm assuming you're coming in, you get the funding from Chase, or even if you're not qualified from Chase, I can probably still get you at least 50 grand in other types of funding. We want to continue to build on your credit profile, to continue to enhance your credit profile for down the road, okay? Step 3, once you have your 6-month emergency fund, your cash reserves, things are going well, you're earning money, you want to upgrade and maybe think about diversifying. So we would want to repeat step 1 in some process. We could go back to Chase, we get another 50 to 100,000 plus at 0%, or we could get more personal funding, okay? And now we want to talk about maybe building or investing into an active or into a passive income opportunity. If your active income opportunity is untapped still, like you're making say 20, 30K a month, but you think you can make 100K, then you should invest it back into your active business. But if you feel like maybe you're a little burnt out with what you're doing, or you're, wanting to, you think you're ready to start diversifying, right? There's lots of opportunities, right? Airbnb, short-term rentals, Section 8, right? There's real estate investment funds that'll pay 20% of your money. Other types of investment funds, right, that I have access to through my network, that I can make you introductions, right? Oil, gas, and energy, okay? These things come with tax benefits, okay? Crypto mining, another tax write-off. Crypto, if you believe in Bitcoin long-term, maybe you should start buying Bitcoin. You should start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just potential. This is how I think about building wealth. This is potential opportunities that I would be interested in. Okay. Credit repair and funding. You could start doing that actively. Obviously, that you would be, buying a program from me. I could help you, build a credit repair company, build a funding company. And I even have completely passive solutions, for credit and funding as well, that obviously are a larger investment, but, we can be partners and I can basically run the company for us and make you money while you sleep. The last thing would be to buy physical, like brick and mortar businesses that either are currently functioning and operating and making cash flow, or you could go into them. You find owners, operators, boomers, or listen, guys, you've probably seen this on social media. There's I think 7 million businesses that boomers are going to have to sell to millennials and Zoomers over the next 10, 15 years. So a lot of this stuff's brick and mortar. There's a lot of opportunity to get people that are ready to retire out of their brick and mortar business. You can take it over, you can modernize it, you can automate it. That can bring you income, right? Semi-passively or passively, okay? We want to, while this is going on, okay, we want to continue to build cash flow and to start getting closer to our goal. Remember, 3 to 5x our, over our in net income over our overhead expenses, okay? So again, if you're spending 5K a month, we want to get closer to making 15 to 25,000 a month net profit. If you're spending 10,000 a month, right, we want to get closer to making 30 to 50K a month profit. And as you reinvest into your business, as you reinvest into other opportunities, as you take on more debt, your overhead is going to increase, okay? So it's important that you understand, again, cost opportunity and just basic finance. It's important you understand investing into yourself and into other passive opportunities and taking on more debt is going to increase your overhead. So you want to make sure that you're getting the value that you think you're going to get out of that thing, right? So if you're going to take on another 100K in debt, that's going to cost you another $1,000 to $1,500 a month, right? For the first year, just a minimum payment, right? You want to make sure that you're able to make, 3, 4, 5, 10 times that amount with that money, okay? Especially in the first year if you can. So it's very important to build these cash reserves, to build cash flow, right? Because again, once we're out of that 0% interest period, you're also going to have to pay back the banks if you want to keep a good relationship with them. So you borrow 50K or 100K from Chase, you're going to have to be able to pay them back in 12 months or so, right? So again, you want to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position where you can either afford to pay them back, right around that 12, 13 month mark, or you can sometimes get them to extend the 0% interest period, or you can get more funding and balance transfer. There's a lot of ways to kind of circumvent having to pay the full interest if you're not able to pay it all back. But again, you want to be as prepared as possible. That's why building cash reserves is very important. Okay, and then after you're in business for say a year plus and you have consistent revenue, consistent income, you make 30, 40K a month with a 10K overhead one time, you're not at financial freedom. You have to be able to do this over and over and over and over again. You have to be able to do it every month consistently for like 6 to 12 months straight to really know, hey, I really know this business and I'm crushing it and it's not going to change that much. Yeah, I might have slight fluctuations here and there, but I can make money in this business consistently. So step 4, okay, I'm in the way here. So step 4 is going to be, right, our big funding stack. Step 4, you're making a lot of money, right, in your active income. You got a lot of cash reserves. Things are good. Now you're really ready to make some big splashes, okay? So now we're going to be able to go back to the bank again for the second or third time, maybe the fourth time. Because again, maybe we only got a little bit of 50K, 100K the first time, or 50, 100K the second time. But now we have at least a year in business. We have financials of some sort. We have cash flow, okay? We can go back and probably get 300, 400,000, 500,000 potentially, right? And now this is a large amount of money to really get aggressive and to really push the envelope. And again, this is going to depend on your skills. It's going to depend on your risk tolerance. It's going to depend on where you are currently. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you're cool with where you are and you want to just slowly keep going. That's totally fine. Again, if you want to accelerate the process, usually capital injection is going to do that, because capital injection is going to help you diversify, or it's going to help you invest into like better marketing or better content or a better environment, right? Things that can really move the needle in your business, right? So if I can take another couple $100,000 out and invest it into my business, and I know it's going to bring me a 5 to 10x return, I'm going to do that in wholesaling, especially, or in credit and fundings, right? If I can spend more money on marketing, right? I have data that's going to tell me from the previous year or year and a half. I have data that says, okay, it costs every $1,000 to $2,000 I spend, I make 10 grand. Okay, that's really, really good. So you want to keep pushing that envelope. You want to see where your upper limit is. Like, where do I start falling off that 5 to 10x ROAS, right? If I'm getting a 5 to 10x ROAS, return on ad spend, right? You want to keep fucking pushing it until that ROAS starts coming back down, right? So you want to see how high you can go, because it doesn't all scale up perfectly, right? You're never going to stay at like 5 to 10x ROAS. Eventually you're going to keep spending and spending and spending, and then it's going to come down. But again, if it stays around 4x or 5x or 3x even, and you can spend and you have the money to spend, it's just a numbers in, numbers out game. It's just money in, money out, right? You hire more sales reps, you get more leads, you get better training. Like, there's always ways to improve your business, and being in business and staying in the game is important for these reasons, alongside the compounding effect that just comes from making connections and staying in business and growing your network and building on your skills and creating new offers and creating like new products or services, just like I have with the expedited repair, right? Like, this isn't something that I offered, a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So I'm able to charge a lot of money for this service because it's not a widely sold service. It's supply and demand. So again, the longer you're in business, the more opportunity you're going to have, the more data you're going to have to make good financial decisions. So again, I know that this is somewhat complicated, but I'm also simplifying it because I'm kind of talking macro here, right? But you want to keep constantly checking that wealth indicator. Can I lower my overhead? Am I wasting money on anything? Am I eating out too much? Am I spending too much on women and girls and partying? Am I, spending too much on, this or that, right? What's your wealth indicator at, right? Like, you always want to kind of know where you are in reference to your wealth indicator. Are you increasing your net worth? Are you putting money away into your net worth fund? Or do you have your emergency fund not filled yet? Like, these are the things that you need to be conscious of and continue. And then my general, truth is that it doesn't matter really what you're at. If you've only been doing this for 3 or 5 years, like, just keep going. Because you can make, maybe you do get to that, you can see that 5 million liquid net worth and that 3 to 5x, monthly, income, net monthly income, in a bunch of diversified ways. You can see it really happening. You can see it's gonna happen, right? Increase your numbers, increase your goals, make that 5 million liquid net worth 10 million, right? Make that 3 to 5x a month, monthly expenses 5 to 10x, right? Like, you can always go bigger. It depends on what you want. If you really love business, if you really love it for what it is, if you love the game, you can make as much money as you want. Anyone can be a millionaire in today's world. Anybody can be a multi-millionaire. You just have to follow this blueprint. I'm serious. That's all it is. Follow the blueprint, okay? Even if the worst case scenario happens and you default, right, on the money, guess what? You have the skills. You have the income earning potential. That's what we're talking about. The skills will never leave you, okay? That's why most millionaires have lost all their money before, because they're not scared. Most deca millionaires, guys that are worth over 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million, even guys that are worth 100 million plus, they've probably made a couple $1 million before at least, and they've gone broke again and then made it back because they're not scared to take risk. The more earning potential you have, the bigger risks you can take, okay? And then listen, you're never gonna hit 100% on your investments. Again, it's ignorant to think, like, everyone is worried about, like, making sure that they don't get scammed, or which is understandable, right? Or making sure that they're investing in the right thing, but nobody hits 100%. Nobody, not even Buffett. He does now, but like, not when he started. And even the billionaires lose money. Like, everybody loses money. You have to take risk. And to think that you're going to hit 90% or 100% or even 70% or 80% is fucking ignorant of you. Like, who the fuck are you? You've only been doing this for 5 years or 10 years. You're going to make mistakes still. People are going to fuck you. Business is rough, man. The longer you stay in business, you realize there's a very select few people that do business the right way. They do business the same way that are aligned with your values. And those are the people that you want to do business with, but they're hard to find, man. And sometimes when you're struggling, you make bad decisions because you're doing things out of money, out of the need for money. And that's another important reason why to not let your overhead get crazy if you can avoid it. Because if you can make sure that you always have some, reserves, you always have security fund, you always have, emergency fund, you don't have to necessarily, do business with people you don't want to do business with. I've had to do that. I've had to do business with people that I really didn't get a good vibe from, or I was hesitant, or something rubbed me the wrong way, but they were like basically putting money in my pocket. So I looked past it, right? It's like the girl that you meet and the sex is great, and like, you guys are like hitting it off, but you kind of know deep down this chick has some red flags. this isn't a good long-term partner for me. I can see this getting toxic, or I can see this being a drain on me emotionally. Like, right? We've all been there. You have to make those same decisions in business. You can see that stuff coming, and that's part of experience and skill and instinct, and that's what makes people good at business, and it's what separates people that are decent to people like Alex Hormozi, guys who are going to be worth billions of dollars one day, that make hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Like, guys like that, they choose who they do business with. And again, you want to be so good at what you do that you get to choose who you do business with, and everybody knows who you are. And I've almost gotten to that point. I'm not quite there, but I'm close. I'm like probably a year or two away. But people really fuck with me. Like, the people that do fuck with me, they trust me. They understand that I don't bullshit. Yeah, has business been perfect? Have I fulfilled on that 100% of everything that I said? No, I haven't. I'll be the first one to admit it, but I've done people right. Or I've said, listen, I can refund you, but I need some time. Or I can say, listen, this is going to take a little bit longer than I expected. Just be transparent. You're not scamming people if you're being honest and transparent, right, about what's going on. And the shit happens, man, and people get it. People understand, especially business owners. So they know, as long as you're telling them the truth and you're transparent with them, like, they're going to trust you more, right? Like, if I say, listen, man, I thought it was only going to take 6 months to fix your credit. It's been over a year. I apologize. I'll keep working on it. Like, people appreciate that type of honesty, right? And obviously, credit and funding is one of those, kind of unique businesses where, you can't really guarantee results. Obviously, now with the expedited repair, I'm able to kind of give more of a guarantee than I was able to in the past. But again, legally, I'm not really allowed to. So, again, I'm not going to get into like the specifics of it, but the point is that you want to be able to underpromise and overdeliver. And if you can do that consistently in business, and you can follow this blueprint, and you can keep increasing your skills, and you can keep getting capital, and you can keep driving and executing every day, you're not going to have problems making money. Okay? So I'm going to leave it at this. It's been almost an hour. Shit. Okay, so I wanted to keep this under an hour for sure. It's been almost an hour. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is high level shit, man. Like, this is literally the whole game right here. Like, I know it's hard to see, but this is the whole game right here. Okay? And I want you guys to, understand what it is. It doesn't have to be complicated. This is the whole game. Okay? So, I'll be giving this presentation to, to people and in the school community, and maybe some people, outside of the school community individually, people that I think might benefit from this, right? But this is what it takes, and I can help you with all of this. That's my skills. I can help you with all of this. Is it execution problem? Is it an opportunity problem? Is it a skill problem? I can even help you identify which problem it is, okay? But you guys have to look in the mirror and realize that you all have income problems if you're not where you want to be. It's not about credit. It's not about anything else besides income, right? Because if you made $100,000 a month, you wouldn't really give two shits about maybe your credit not being perfect, right? Or the people that hit me up every day, when's my credit gonna be fixed? When's it gonna be fixed? If you had a lot of money, you wouldn't care as much. You still want to fix your credit even if you had a lot of money, of course, but you wouldn't be on my ass, or you wouldn't be so concerned and putting so much weight on having good credit, right? Money, like, if you can just buy the things that you want and like you have plenty left over, then you're not gonna care as much about credit. That's why when the economy's booming and everyone's making shit tons of money, credit repair actually doesn't do as well. Credit repair does better in environments like we're in right now, where people are hurting. And if you're interested in starting a credit repair company, an active one or a passive one, and you want to, get involved with that with me, just let me know, hit me up. We can make something happen. Again, I'm going to have a lot of stuff rolling out soon. I'm going to have access to an oil fund, an oil deal that we've been working on for a couple of years. I have access to other private funds if you're looking to, potentially, make some investments. Again, not financial advice. I can just give you my network, right? That's what I can do. So, guys, let me know, and we'll be in touch. Thanks for the time. If you watch this whole video, I really appreciate it. And like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Thanks.